And boom, hey up troops, ALYTTLETON here again with another video. It's time to look at Denari. It's time to introduce Denari. To look at the weapons he has, the gadget he has, the secondary gadgets he has, how it works, what counters it, what effect it has on other operators, all that sort of good stuff. But just do me a favor, don't touch this. That really stings and that might give away what his gadget does. Right, that's enough waffling. Let's just get stuck into it. Okay, so let's dive into Denari's loadout. This is what it looks like if you've not seen them before. Operator name is Leon Winzenride, which is a pretty cool name, actually. Born in Switzerland. So, loadout-wise, then, we have a new weapon in the secondary field. We'll look at that in a second. We get our Scorpion, no ACOG. FMG, no ACOG. All that will become clear, because you've probably heard by now in the new season, the only ACOGs on defense are in DMRs and slug shotties. TCSG, ACS-12, Bosch G, and the DMRs. We've got the Glaive 12, which is there's no ACOG on that, despite it being a slug shotty, but it is, let me just put a skin on it so I can go full screen. So it's a 4-shot slug shotgun. As you can see, are there shotgun shells in there? I don't know. It's a 4-shell slug shotgun. It's really going to be used for opening hatches, making lines of sight, and making rotates, although making rotates isn't overly easy with it. But it does, I think it shows the damage on here. Let's go back one. There you go. It does 63 damage. However, the drop off is considerable. So it does 63 damage if you're standing next to someone. If you're on the other side of the room, it drops to like 25, between 25 and 35, depending on which area of the limb you hit. So it's really good as a secondary for being on the move, which is what Denari's going to be. He's going to be a roamer, right? No doubt about that. So having this secondary is going to be a really useful part of the kit. It's not as strong, in my opinion, as a Super Shorty. Super Shorty does set up and opens things a lot faster, whereas this is just a really nice thing to have, and you can like hit someone on the other end of the room if you need to. It also gets a P226, observation blockers, and a shield. In my opinion, I would run the FMG, the Glaive, and the shield. The FMG honestly slaps on defense. I know it does 34 damage. I know no one really uses it on smoke, because of the shotgun SMG 11 combo, but it's really, really solid. The Scorpion, actually, when I was doing some testing, doesn't feel too bad on Glaive. The recoil is pretty solid, but the damage is 23 fire rate 1080, 34 fire rate 800. It just feels like it packs a punch on defense, the FMG. I've been really enjoying using it. Observation blockers for me are still a really cool concept, but are poorly executed in the sense that I don't want to have to spend I was going to say 3.5 hours then, maybe not that long, although it feels like it at times, but 3/4 of my prep phase putting these down. I think Kudos came up with a really good idea where you should be able to throw them like a prox alarm, and then they deploy when they hit the floor. That would be a really good idea, and you'd be able to get a lot more done with them, because otherwise it takes so long to play. It takes the same time to place them as it does a Maestro camera or a Mew jammer. It takes so long. So yeah, for me, FMG, Glaive, and deployable shield. Okay, then let's get stuck in to Denari and his TRIP connector, trip connector, or as I'm going to call them from now on, is lasers. So he has these things, and he has 7 of them, and they're really, really dynamic. One of the best looking gadgets, I have to say, that's been designed for ages. I think it looks class over there on the right-hand side. So what we'll do is we'll use this area here. You throw one down, it sticks to any surface you throw it to, whether that's a floor, a ceiling, or a wall, or anything else, a sandbag included. And you'll see that as we go to throw another one, let's throw it a bit closer so we're all in the same window. You can see that there's a white laser that shows that these 2 trip connectors or lasers will connect to each other. So let's just do that for easy maths. You can see now we've created a tripwire that goes through. However, they turn off for defenders, very much like a Rooney gates, if I'm being brutally honest with you. The best way to think about these is sort of mobile Rooney gates, but they don't cover doorways. You can throw them kind of anywhere. Does it make a Rooney useless? It doesn't, because you have to do a better job of hiding these, but I'm going to show you how. So not only can you throw 2 to create a tripwire, if you were to throw a 3rd, it would connect to the existing 2 as long as there's a line of sight. And that is the case if you threw all 7. As long as there's a line of sight, you can throw as many as you want to, and they'll all connect together, and they'll all go off together. However, if the lasers don't have a line of sight, it'll create a new tripwire. Let me just pick these up. Let's leave those 2 in. So if I was to throw one here, it wouldn't create a line of sight between this one, but it would between this one. If I was to throw it here, it wouldn't create a... Oh, I know, it's tried and it's failed. Okay, I thought it was going to do it then. So what I want to do now is throw one that's not in the line of sight of this to show you can have 2 separate tripwires. It's trying to connect. I haven't thrown that one far enough. You can see that they really do try the best. Let's just throw that one down here. They will then connect. They will connect. We've now got 2 separate tripwires. Makes a noise when you go through them, so you do give an audio cue if you cancel them, a bit like the Aruni gate does. No, don't want to reinforce that. I want to pick that up. So what I haven't tested yet, and I'm going to do this as I'm making the video, is the range of them. So if we throw one up on the wall here, we throw one up on the wall here, do they connect? The answer is no. Have they got line of sight? I feel like they have got line of sight. It's just, okay, it works down to there, works down to there, works down to there. Okay, it does connect. They didn't have line of sight. So, there's no limit. Well, if I say there's no range limit, what's the distance between here and there? It's 20 meters. Let's try. I don't think I'm going to be able to get more than 20 meters on a siege map, if I'm honest. There's not many lines of sight that are more than 20 meters. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go outside, eh? That's a good idea, Andy. Let's nip outside and see if we can get more than 20 meters away with line of sight, which we'll definitely be able to here. Throw that over here. And that does not connect. Now, is that because it's outside? That connects. That connects. That connects. That connects. That doesn't connect. Okay. So, where do we lose the connection? Just there. So if I go and stand there and ping... Where's the other one? Over there. And ping that over there. Is that 20 meters? It's 20 meters. Okay. We just learned that the range of the lasers is 20 meters. However, realistically, I don't know if you're ever going to find a place internally in a map where you're going to get more than 20 meters. Now, where Denari's good, or Denari's good, is not on doorways like this. You do not want to be doing this for obvious reasons. There's a tripwire there, and you're just going to see them and shoot them. Yes, they get destroyed by bullets. I'll throw it on the floor and shoot it for you just to show you. They're not bulletproof. They do get destroyed. So you can't throw them on doorways like that. You've got to be a little bit more clever with them and obviously go for things like this. Now, the attacker won't be able to shoot those from the door, but, of course, it's a soft wall, so you could shoot that through the wall if you wanted to. But you're going to have to get a little bit more creative. I think even doing things like one at the top of a doorway, one down at the bottom of a doorway. That's a bit too close to the door. One like tucked in here. I think that's a good shout, because from here, are you going to be able to get to that before it goes off? No, maybe, but again, you can just put it slightly further back. Obviously, the further back you put it, the tighter the angle. Does that mean now an attacker can crouch underneath here? So you've really got to be clever with the way you put them down. I'm just going to sneeze. Hang on. Excuse me, that I really should edit that out, but I won't. Right then. So where else are they good? Places like stairways, wonderful, because you can put them right up against the stair there and right up against the stair there. Push them up as far as you can. Ain't no way you see that as an attacker, but you trip into it as you go down the stairs. A really, really nice way to play him. And then also remember, don't put your next one in line of sight. Like, that's a really smart place to put one of these lasers. But then you don't want to be putting one like down here just for easy maths, because they're going to connect and all of a sudden people are going to come around the corner and go, wait, what's that one? Or maybe you could confuse them with that. Maybe they'd shoot that then and then walk down and not notice that there. But they're not going to know that's there anyway. So yeah, you can get super, super creative with them. You can also use them for hatch drops. If I just go and open security hatch, I'll show you what I mean. So you get 7, so you could do up to... the fact that you get 7, obviously you need 2 to create a tripwire. It means you could cover 3 areas with having 1 spare. And you can do hatches, but again, you're going to have to get a little bit creative on how you do the hatches. If you put one here, it's going to get shot from the hatch. So you're going to have to think about where you put it. Like, probably put it on the underside of the hatch. And then on the underside of the hatch on the opposite corner. Or make it so you can't shoot them. So let's go and see if we can see that from the hatch now. You can see that's on there. You can't see that there. Can't see that there. And you can't drop this hatch without tripping that off. So yeah, they're solid for hatches as well. I think it's one of the best designed gadgets we've had for ages. Not only in what it does, but in what it looks like. I do kind of worry that no one's going to play a Rooney anymore. But I suppose a Rooney gate gives you 3 guaranteed doorways that's completely bulletproof to stop people getting through. Whereas with Denari, I think he's going to be much more of a roamer. Let's give you a quick example. Let's just say we're playing Oregon. We're playing basement on Oregon. We want to try and hold meeting. So what we're going to do is set up a laser here, and then we're going to do the next best thing, which is on the floor here. Remember, it doesn't have to be on the same surface. So I've put it on the door pillar here, like facing out from the door. That doesn't mean I need to find somewhere else that's facing that same way. We can just put it on the floor if we want to. So the wider you can put them on the door, the better, obviously. I don't think you're going to be able to get that before he goes off. So you want to hold meeting, and we can hold that door there. We could play around split. How do you get through there without destroying it? You can't, so you're going to know somebody coming through strip. Split, sorry. So now we could play here. Let's just say we're defending basement on Oregon. We've reinforced the hatty catch. We'll do a better job of opening that hatch, because that was pretty poor. There we go. So now we're going to be defending with the usual head holes that you have into blue. Now we're going to... This is reinforced. Obviously, we're going to be playing from here with the idea of not letting the attackers into this room to then be able to open the blue hatch to look down at this mirror that's here, or to get control of meeting. And yeah, I think you could do a bloody good job of holding it. You could even... I know we've shot two, so I've sort of run out here, but you could even do the doors as well. One on the floor there, one on the floor there. They're going to connect up, so that's that door done. You could even potentially use the spare one that you get in addition. So you know what? Okay, so we just started. Let me just pick these two up and I'll show you what I mean. So you know when you say spare one, you get an addition. I've talked about using 3 different doors, which is 6, but we get 7. So let's just say we want to cover split again. You could even cover this door using this one coming across. It's going to have to be tight, but like coming across here maybe, is that? Only thing with that is obviously as an attacker is going to see it from here and can shoot it, but there's no other real way of getting that around the corner unless we... wonder if they can... You know what? We can do a better job of this. We could put this closer to this door so you can see through this door here, and then we could put that there. And then with 3, they can't see that one, you can't see that one, and you can't see that one. So you come through here, and you could do that. In fact, you know what we could do? Okay, I've got an idea. Let me try and do this. I'm kind of making this up as I go, as you can probably tell. But let me go and grab the other ones. I wish I hadn't shot those other 2 now. Grab you. And now with, what, 4 lasers? So 1, 2, 3, and this will be the 4th. We've covered 3 doors. We just, I mean, imagine the shapes. I'm not very creative, but imagine the shapes people are going to come up with to cover this. Only thing is, obviously, once they've gone through the one, you could then shoot that one, which would render that tripwire redundant, and then you could come through. Yeah, there's definitely... You can see that. I've just made that up as I've gone along. There's definitely going to be people with super creative ways of using this. I can't get over how good it looks, though, man. It's so cool. Right, let's get into the counters. And show the effects of what happens. So once you walk through the gate as an attacker, what happens? And how do you counter it as an attacker? Let's have a look at that. Okay, so let's have a look at the effects of these things. And you might notice I'm on 90 health down the bottom. That's because I've already accidentally walked through one. Shout out to Kudos for giving us a hand and setting these up, by the way. Kudos has been good enough to join us on the test server. Right then, we've got one of the lasers here. Now, obviously, I know you can just shoot it, but we're not going to do that. I'm going to show you the effects. As you walk towards it, you'll lose 20 HP. And then you have this electrical effect for 9 seconds. And the cooldown on the lasers is only 3 seconds. So as you walk through these lasers, they'll stun you. You take 20 damage. You're electrified like a clash effect for 9 seconds. You can see it down in the bottom there. The red sort of indicator. You can see now I'm free from the effects. And they come back on 3 seconds later. What are my thoughts on that? I think the cooldown time on this is far too less. The cooldown time needs to be a lot longer than 3 seconds, in my opinion. The fact that you get 20 damage and you can't really walk very well for 9 seconds, and then these come back online 3 seconds later, I think that's a little bit too strong. How else can you get rid of the lasers? So, obviously you can walk through them, but you can't burn them because they come back on 3 seconds later. So you've kind of got to destroy them. So let's just use Twitch as an example. A Twitch drone, of course, could get rid of one of the lasers. And obviously it'll do both sides as well. How else can you get rid of them? You can use a drone. However, if you only burn the laser rather than destroying it, obviously we've destroyed that with a Twitch drone. That's never going to come back now, right? However, who has installed that wood paneling? Somebody needs some more no more nails on that. However, then again, it's actually designed pretty well. I've just shot it with a dedicated marksman rifle and a bit of wood paneling to come off. Let's not digress. However, you burn it with a drone, it costs you your utility, right? You can burn it with a drone. It destroys the drone. You come off your cam. However, same again, 3 seconds later, this is back online. Think about this compared to an Arunigate. An Arunigate's down for 30 seconds. 10 times longer than this is down for. Obviously, Aruni gates can never be destroyed. They can only be disabled, whereas you can destroy these, but you can't get the angle to destroy them if they're on a doorway like we just spoke about here. Really tough to get rid of. You can also use throwables. I've thrown that under the laser. I don't believe it. There you go. You can... I can't believe I've just bounced it underneath. Same thing again, though. Cost your utility, your frag grenade, your flashbang, your smoke grenade, and it comes back online 3 seconds later. I really do feel like that is a little bit too short in terms of cooldown time. I think like maybe 6, 7, 8 seconds perhaps to give chance for like you and a teammate. Like you think you're droning from front door, you need to burn this laser with a drone because you've got no other utility. You'd have to like burn it, but you could only burn it when you stood right next to it because you're never going to have time to run from there to there by the time it comes back online. With a Twitch drone, of course, you could jump over it. There's nothing stopping you doing that. And of course, if it was high enough, you could also go under it with a drone as well. Twitch drones are probably going to be the best counter for this thing, in my humble opinion. But yeah, like if you had no utility as an operator here and you were stuck here, there's nothing you could do other than shoot it. But obviously, there's a way of doing this where you wouldn't be able to shoot it. Like this is a great example, actually. You could put one through that. Ow! You could put one through that drone hole. And then on this end of the wall, and you wouldn't be able to get through 90 without doing something about it, without using utility. I can't believe the effects of it go on for so long. Like 20 damage, can't walk for 9 seconds, and they come back online 3 seconds later. Like, you can barely get through it once you get hit. I think it's a really solid gadget. It's real. The effects are really cool. I think the Aruni gates may get changed to follow the same effect, perhaps. But I also feel like that 3 second cooldown time is just not long enough. Now, before I restart this and try and find and do a Brava to show you how we can counter it with Brava, Kudos said he was going to come down into the basement. There he is. Just waiting for us there. Right, let's load up with Brava and see how that affects it. Okay, so we brought Brava into the mix now, and I've thrown... Well, Kyle, thank you very much. Kudos has thrown 3 down. I want to show you why we've done that. Brava, of course, can hack these. However, if you hack one, that will then become an attacker laser. Will destroy, but the other 2, of course, are still connected. You don't hack them to the point where they become your lasers and you can get defenders with them like a Capcan trap, maybe. However, if there's only 2 together, which you'll see now, obviously you destroy one or hack one, it'll overheat, blow up, and that'll render the one up here useless. So Brava is actually a pretty decent counter. The only thing is, Brava drones are so strong. Like hacking default cams, hacking Malusi Banshee traps, hacking those kind of things is, I feel, is so much more value than just making one of these things overheat. I'm not really sure what I think about Brava as a counter to it so far, but yeah, really cool the way you can sort of hack one, make it overheat, but the other 2 still connect. So yeah, interesting, but I think Twitch is probably better than Brava when it comes to this. But you probably wouldn't bring Brava as a sole counter to Denari. But if you see him, obviously you can take advantage of it as well. Thank you, Kudos. The other counter is Thatcher and EMPs. So we could throw the EMP into the laser, but it would only burn it and therefore come back on 3 seconds later. We don't want to do that. We want to actually disable it. So you've got to make sure you throw it within range of where the laser comes out. Remember, an EMP grenade has only got a an EMP pocket EMP. This isn't Thatcher. Has only got a 1.5 meter range. So throwing it at the laser doesn't disable it. I'll show you that first. That doesn't disable the laser. You've got to disable where the laser is emitted from. So you throw it at that one instead. That will then disable it for as long as pocket EMPs disable things for, which I think is 8 seconds. And obviously you can walk through. So yeah, always make sure that you disable the laser itself, like where the laser is being emitted from, not the actual laser beam. And then obviously walk through it as quick as you can. Again, I don't know what the best counters are to these. Maybe ash charges. Anything explosive is, of course, destroy it. Impacts from Zephyr, frag grenades. I just feel like an EMP can give you so much value on a wall. Like, do you really want to use an EMP to get rid of that? I don't know. Like, they're so effective, but I also feel like they're so, like, destroyable, if you know what I mean. They're so puny. Do I want to waste an EMP on that? But also, I don't really want to go through, take 20 damage and not be able to walk for 9 seconds. So, yeah, a real quandary with it. I don't know why I just missed that, sorry. Right, one more counter to talk about. Final counter is Ram, who is actually really solid at countering Denari. Watch this. You'd think that it would burn the boogie drone like it burns a normal drone. Throw the boogie down, set it off. Goes through it, but doesn't get burnt. And comes back on 3 seconds later. Don't get hit by your own boogie. That comes back on 3 seconds later. Really interesting interaction between operators there, because why doesn't this burn? Why doesn't the laser burn the boogie drone? I guess because of what it's made from. Like, it's a hefty looking drone. Goes through, cuts it off, goes out for 3 seconds, gives you a chance to walk through. And away you go. I got caught in that last one. A really interesting interaction. I'm going to do it one more time just to make sure I see how it works. So that goes off. So that's finished now. So does that come back on in 3 seconds? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that comes back on 3 seconds later. That's really interesting. I would have thought it would burn the boogie drone, but it doesn't. And look at the mesh network. I think we need to add hopping to Siege. I want to be able to hop through the lasers. Like, add jumping so I can bunny up through the lasers. Yeah, I really can't get over watching it being set up, how it makes the mesh. I really like the look of it. Obviously, you can put them on ceilings as well, as shown by Kudos. Right, there we go. There are the counters. The only other counters quickly to talk about are... I've got them on my other monitor. Hang on, I wrote them down, so I didn't forget them. There we go. This is really professional, isn't it? The other ones, of course, are IQ. She can scan and see it. Zero does exactly the same thing as Twitch with the laser for his camera. Fire a Zero camera up here, and you can shoot that out with a laser. And then Thatcher, but we've already talked about EMPs as well. So, a decent amount of counters, but just... I mean, bear in mind, by the way, if you had something like this, again, you would just shoot them out, but let's just pretend we can't see them. We're on 75 HP. We're going to have to go through 3 lasers to get through this area. 1, 2, 3. Like, we're down to 15 HP. We just took 60 damage to walk through those three lasers. Absolutely insane. Really cool. There we have it then. Welcome Denari to Rainbow. I would say he's going to be a solid roamer right at the top of the list of who's a nightmare to deal with. Being able to put lasers across the feet area, the foot box, whatever you want to call it, the doorway, on 3 different doors, and obviously have a massive audio cue. They take some damage. They get slowed with it. They come back on 3 seconds later. I think it's going to be pretty strong. Is it better than Malusi? I don't know, probably a different job. I think Malusi's become a bit more site-based recently. Better than Legion? Oh, that's a tough one for me. I think no, I don't know, because Legion can just chuck him wherever, can't he? I do really rate Legion, I'm not sure. But I do think he's going to be a top roamer. A 3-speed as well with an FMG. He can make his own rotates, open his own hatches. Solid operator, and I'm excited to see what the community does in terms of interesting and inventive ways of using those lasers. Thank you, as always, for getting involved with the channel. I really appreciate it. Do us a favor, if you haven't already, drop a comment below about something, I don't know what, about red dragon bottle if you want to, if you don't know what to put, or wooden placemat. That's a PUBG placemat. I haven't played that for a while. So, yeah, thanks as always for getting on a bit of a tangent there. Sorry. Thanks as always for getting involved. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to Year 10 Season 3. I hope you are as well. All the very best.